Hey there, listeners. In a complex and fast-paced world where leaders guide organizations, they also inspire teams and they can make decisions that can impact many people. But there's one characteristic that tends to stand out that's indispensable. And that one characteristic is integrity. You see, integrity is the foundation of credibility that earns trust, inspires loyalty, and drives positive change. So today we're going to be talking about the importance of integrity in leadership. So let's discuss.
Welcome to Leadership is Changing. Each week, we and our guests provide information and insights through exploring leading change. This is taking your leadership to another level by finding the balance between executive excellence and personal well-being through stories that inspire real change. It's time to adapt in our fast-moving world when leadership is changing with your host, Denis Giannoutsas.
Hey, welcome to the Ask Denis episode. This is a freestyle episode where I'm asked a question by our listeners, or I share my thoughts, experiences, and insights from working with many leaders around the globe. Hey, listeners, today I want to talk to you about the importance of integrity in leadership. Well, this week in New Zealand, and I know this happens in many countries and organizations and leadership levels, but in this week in New Zealand, we've seen this happen once again. Our leaders' integrity has been questioned, and this has resulted in them resigning from their role. And it comes from some real dumb things, maybe some basic things that some leaders do or that they don't do. Now, don't get me wrong, it's easy for me to stand on the sidelines and make comments, but when you are in very influential senior roles, that's when we need to be role models in all aspects of our lives, and in particular, with integrity. You see, in today's complex and fast-paced world, effective leadership is more critical than ever before. Leaders are responsible for guiding these organizations and inspiring their teams and making tough decisions that can impact lives of many people. Now, while leadership involves a whole range of qualities and skills, that one characteristic that stands out as essential again is integrity. Integrity really forms the foundation of a leader's credibility and influences their ability to earn trust, inspire loyalty, and drive that positive change. In this episode, what we're going to do is we're going to explore why it is crucial for leaders to have integrity. See, integrity really refers to the adherence to moral and ethical principles. It's also towards honesty and the consistency. Get that word, that key word, consistency in action, values, and behavior. Now, I put a big underline under that word, consistency, because that's the big thing with a lot of this, is how consistent are you in your action, your values, and your behaviors? You can't just do it once and then that's it. You have to do it every single time on a consistency basis or on a consistent basis. A leader with integrity, if they've got strong integrity or integrity full stop, can uphold a strong moral compass and consistently demonstrate ethical behavior, even when faced with difficult situations or tempting shortcuts. A lot of leaders get tested every single day with a whole lot of stuff around difficult situations or tempting shortcuts. I know a lot of leaders actually want to sort of not have that difficult conversation sometimes, and so they'll lift up the carpet, sweep it under the carpet, and hope it goes away, and it doesn't. So we're going to be talking about several key reasons why integrity is vital in leadership. Number one is building trust. Trust is really the foundation of any successful relationship, and it is particularly vital between leaders and their teams. You see, there's a book out there called The 5 Dysfunctions of a Team by a guy called Patrick Lencioni. And he has a triangle with 5 different areas or different levels within a team and their function and how they function well together. But the number one, which is the biggest foundation, is that he sees that there is, with a dysfunctional team, there is an absence of trust. Now, we're not talking about whether I trust you and you trust me. It's more about vulnerability trust is what he talks about, whether I can be vulnerable with you and know that I can trust being vulnerable with you and that it's okay, and vice versa. You see, leaders with integrity are seen as trustworthy because of the actions aligned with their words. Now, when employees trust their leader, they feel secure and more likely to get engaged or motivated and also productive. Now, integrity breeds trust, and trust fosters a positive work environment that really fuels creativity, collaboration, and growth. If that is missing, then you're going to find that you're going to be hitting your head against a wall, because it isn't going to happen and people aren't going to trust you, and they more than likely will vote with their feet and leave you and the organization. Number 2, ethical decision making. As I said earlier on, that leaders are regularly confronted with some tough decisions, and that can be really have some far-reaching consequences or some really big consequences. And having integrity ensures that leaders make decisions based on ethical principles and values rather than on a personal gain or a short-term benefit. You see, ethical decision-making really promotes fairness, accountability, and transparency. And all of that is really going to enhance a leader's reputation and the organization's overall integrity. So one is the integrity of the leader, but then there's the integrity of the team, and then there's the integrity of the organization. So number 2 is around ethical decision making. Number 3 is around inspiring others. I've always talked about the role is for leaders to hire people who are motivated, but your role as a leader is to actually inspire them. And as we serve the role, or as a role model for our teams, we're there to really set the tone of the organizational culture as well. Now, when leaders embody that integrity, they inspire their employees to act with honesty, professionalism, and a strong sense of purpose. They feel like they're part of something big. Now, a leader who consistently demonstrates integrity is a leader that can create something what we call a ripple effect. If you think about a pebble or a stone falling into a lake, the lake looks like a milk pond, or mill pond, I should say. It's flat as, and it's just beautiful. But if you throw a stone into it, where the stone goes in, and then there's that ripple effect where you see the rings go out and the waves start going through different areas as well. That ripple effect can come from leaders who can create it through having integrity and demonstrating on an ongoing basis. If you can empower individuals at all levels within the organization to uphold ethical behavior and strive for excellence, that's where you're going to see we have the ability to be able to inspire others as well. Number 4 is about long-term reputation. Now, reputation for a leader is built over time. You know what? It can actually be lost within seconds. And a leader's reputation is built over time, as I said, but it's reflecting on the leader's character, their actions, and their integrity. And those leaders who give more time or prioritize integrity are more likely to be respected and admired by their peers, their organization, and their stakeholders. The positive reputation contributes to their long-term success and opens up doors for future opportunities as well, right? So it's amazing what can come. There's almost like this cause and effect. And if you have strong integrity, many doors will open for you and opportunities will be in front of you. But those leaders, the opposite of this is that those leaders who lack integrity may achieve short-term gains and, very good, they got the gain straight away, but then they run the risk of damaging their reputation. And in doing so, that can have some severe consequences in the long run. Number 5 is effective communication. If you can have open and transparent communication, then that's going to be crucial in your leadership. Those leaders who have integrity, their communication is more than likely going to be authentic, credible, and once again, there's that word, consistent. They are honest about successes and failures, and they admit mistakes when necessary. They own up to it. They take accountability. They take ownership. But by being open and transparent, these leaders can foster a culture of that trust, that collaboration, innovation, and enabling their teams to perform at their best. Why? Because they get rid of all that noise and people can just focus on what they need to do. Number 6, employee engagement and retention. There's been research that consistently shows that engaged employees are more productive, loyal, and likely to stay in an organization. Why? Because the leaders who have this integrity are creating an environment where employees feel valued, respected, and heard. The more and more leaders that I actually interview on this podcast, they're saying that employees want to be heard. They want to be valued and respected. They want leaders to be real, authentic, and transparent. And when employees observe their leaders acting with integrity, they feel a stronger sense of commitment, loyalty, and pride in their work. Now, all of that leads to higher levels of engagement and also lower turnover rates. In other words, lower attrition rates. In other words, people won't be leaving as quickly or the numbers won't be many people leaving. It'll be less. It'll be a lot lower. So listeners, and already bringing this all together again for this episode, as I said right at the beginning, integrity is an indispensable quality for effective leadership. If you are a leader that can embody integrity, inspire trust, make ethical decisions, and create a positive organizational culture, if you can serve as a role model, inspire others, build lasting reputations, and have an integrity that enhances communication, employee engagement, and retention, ultimately, you're going to drive organizational success. As we navigate this rapid changing world, leaders with integrity are essential to guide us with their wisdom, their fairness, and here it goes, unwavering moral principles. In my Ask Denis episodes, I also finish with a call to action. And this week's call to action is that I'll ask you to stand in the mirror, check yourself out in the mirror. And I don't mean there to sit there in vain looking at yourself. It's more for yourself to ask yourself questions around your leadership, your life, your business, and your leadership to ensure that you've got integrity. Because here's actually a massive question for you to ask. And if you want to send me a message and let me know what you think about the answer is for you, feel free to do that. But it's more of a question for you to think about. Something for you to think about, but also whatever the answer is, it's not good enough for you to do nothing about it. You must do something about it. And the question is this: is your leadership integrity unwavering? Something for you to think about and something for you to do something with. Hey listeners, that's it for this episode. It's always a pleasure being with you. Thanks for joining me on the Leadership is Changing podcast. Until next time, bye for now.
Thank you for listening to this episode of Leadership is Changing with your host, Denis Giannoutsas. Each week, we and our guests provide information and insights through exploring leading change, inspiring executives and leaders to adapt and lead a bigger game in a fast-moving world.